Behind the polished images and carefully staged public appearances, something far less glamorous is unfolding. Meghan Markle's carefully built post-royal world is showing unmistakable signs of strain, and this time, the cracks are financial, structural, and impossible to ignore. Multiple sources familiar with the inner workings of the Archewell Foundation now confirm that staff reductions have quietly swept through the organization. This was not a strategic reshuffle, it was a necessity. Positions were eliminated, responsibilities consolidated, and long-standing employees let go for one blunt reason: the money pipeline has slowed to a trickle. For years, royal watchers predicted that the Sussex model was unsustainable. The idea was simple but flawed: leverage royal fame into massive commercial success, then convert that success into philanthropic influence. It sounded elegant on paper. In practice, it relied entirely on one assumption: that the deals would keep coming. They didn't. When Harry and Meghan exited royal life, expectations were sky high. Industry insiders say Meghan believed opportunity would be endless. She anticipated a steady stream of premium contracts, elite brand partnerships, and Hollywood validation. The belief was that prestige alone would carry the weight. But prestige without performance doesn't survive long in entertainment or philanthropy. At first, it seemed to work. Announcements of massive streaming deals, production contracts, and media ventures dominated headlines. The couple appeared unstoppable. Yet behind the scenes, delivery lagged, projects stalled, output thinned, and patience began to wear out. The unraveling didn't happen overnight. It happened quietly, deal by deal. Spotify ended its relationship after limited returns. Netflix reportedly restructured its arrangement, keeping appearances intact while dramatically reducing financial commitment. Speaking engagements became less frequent. Publishing momentum slowed. Each individual shift could be explained away. Together, they formed a pattern. And then came Archewell. The foundation was meant to be the anchor, the legacy project, the institution that would outlast trends and headlines. Instead, it became a financial liability. Sources describe an organization that expanded rapidly without building sustainable revenue. Salaries ballooned, operations scaled up before outcomes materialized, donations failed to meet expectations. When a charitable foundation begins cutting staff, it sends a powerful signal, not just about finances, but about confidence. Staff believed they were building something meaningful. Many now describe a workplace defined more by press releases than measurable impact. Insiders say Meghan has reacted with urgency, calling emergency meetings and demanding explanations. But the reality is difficult to escape. The model itself was flawed. Visibility replaced viability. Optics replaced infrastructure. The problem wasn't lack of exposure, it was lack of results. Entertainment veterans point out a harsh truth: fame may open doors, but it doesn't keep them open. Audiences reward substance, platforms reward engagement, donors reward outcomes. And in 5 years, the Sussex brand has struggled to produce anything that qualifies as a cultural or commercial success. Another issue complicating matters is how these ventures were financed. Much of the operation relied on outside capital and future projections. That works only when returns follow. When they don't, confidence evaporates quickly. Archewell's staffing costs have drawn particular scrutiny. Sources claim salaries were unusually high for a nonprofit still defining its mission. Yet, despite the expense, tangible accomplishments were scarce. Campaigns failed to resonate, initiatives lacked follow-through, momentum stalled. This disconnect between spending and substance has become impossible to defend. Adding to the pressure is Meghan's stalled lifestyle venture. Efforts to launch a consumer-facing brand reportedly hit repeated roadblocks, including difficulty securing experienced leadership. Industry observers note the contradiction, reluctance to fund revenue-driving roles while maintaining bloated operational costs elsewhere. The result is a shrinking circle of options. As funds tighten, sources say discussions have even turned to volunteer labor, a stunning reversal for an organization once framed as a global powerhouse. The irony is glaring. A foundation built on elite branding, now considering unpaid help to stay afloat. But this raises deeper issues. Volunteers require transparency, trust, openness. These values clash directly with the Sussex obsession with control, security, and secrecy. Experts warn that such a shift could backfire dramatically, exposing internal dysfunction to outsiders with no contractual obligation to remain silent. At its core, this moment represents something bigger than layoffs or budget adjustments. It marks the collision between image and reality, between ambition and execution, between expectation and endurance. And for the first time, the consequences are visible. Financial strain is only part of the picture. The social and reputational fallout surrounding Meghan Markle is accelerating just as rapidly, and perhaps more dangerously. For someone who once expected seamless integration into elite Hollywood circles, the reality has been starkly different. Despite years in California, true acceptance never arrived. Invitations slowed, relationships cooled, proximity did not translate into belonging. Powerful circles value discretion above all else. Trust is currency, and over time, the Sussex brand became associated with exposure rather than protection. Private conversations became public narratives. Personal grievances became content. That pattern made many wary. Former allies quietly stepped back. Public support faded. Associations became transactional or disappeared entirely. Hollywood didn't turn hostile, it simply disengaged. This social distancing has had consequences. Without elite allies, commercial leverage weakens. Without endorsements from respected insiders, credibility erodes. And without credibility, even strong platforms hesitate. Desperation changes behavior. Observers say Meghan's recent networking efforts have grown noticeably more aggressive. Attendance at high-profile events feels less organic, more strategic. The shift has not gone unnoticed, and in a town built on perception, it has only reinforced concerns. The most striking signal came with reports of outreach to reality television royalty, a move that would have been unthinkable years ago. Aligning with hyper-exposed celebrity brands represents a dramatic pivot from earlier messaging centered on privacy and dignity. Critics argue this is not strategy, it's survival. The problem is that such partnerships risk confirming long-held skepticism. Rather than elevating the Sussex brand, they may dilute it further, stripping away any remaining pretense of seriousness or restraint. Brand analysts are increasingly blunt. Rehabilitation, they say, requires authenticity, humility, and delivery. None of those qualities can be manufactured through rebranding alone. Naming choices, product positioning, and public messaging have consistently missed the mark. Audiences sense insecurity behind the polish, excess sentiment without substance, aspiration without relatability. In lifestyle branding especially, credibility is earned through mastery, expertise, repetition, results. A title is not enough. Viewers want proof, not posture. Meanwhile, public disputes continue to backfire. Attempts to control narratives often amplify them instead. Legal victories come at the cost of goodwill. Corrections revive uncomfortable questions. Each response reignites scrutiny. Prince Harry's position complicates matters further. Once one of the most popular figures in the royal family, he now appears increasingly isolated, estranged from family, detached from former friends, entrenched in grievance. His world has narrowed, and with it, his influence. Observers note a growing imbalance. Meghan remains highly visible, relentlessly projecting confidence. Harry appears withdrawn, burdened, reactive. Their priorities seem misaligned, their goals increasingly divergent. Financial pressure magnifies every fault line. Lifestyle expectations clash with shrinking opportunity. Privacy ideals collide with monetization needs. And children, once shielded, loom as potential content in a model Harry has publicly condemned. The contradictions are mounting. Experts believe the coming year will force irreversible decisions. Downsizing, relocation, strategic retreat, or exposure on a scale previously rejected, none come without cost. What makes this saga tragic is how avoidable it all was. Opportunity existed, goodwill was abundant. A quieter, more disciplined approach could have built something lasting. Instead, bridges burned, accountability vanished, and blame flowed outward. Now, the image machine is running out of fuel. The staff is thinning, the allies are gone, the money is tightening, and the narrative control Meghan once prized is slipping away. This is not a single failure. It is the cumulative result of choices, repeated, reinforced, and now unavoidable. The unraveling is no longer speculative. It is structural, and once structures collapse, no amount of branding can hold them up.